The film opens at an unofficial street racetrack, where a group of guys are gathered around at the starting line, waiting for the race to begin. It's in the dead of night, and the headlights of the cars illuminate everything around them with a fierce glare. One guy bids farewell to his friends and gets into his vehicle, confident and ready to race. As he preps for the signal, however, he catches sight of a beautiful woman walking past, who makes the whole world around him feel like it's going in slow motion. He stares, captivated, as she gets into her own car, and he realizes she's one of his competitors. The race begins, the gathered crowd cheering wildly as the cars take off. The guy and the woman, Jackie, both take off at the very front of the pack, neck and neck, each striving to outdo the other. However, Jackie suddenly sees a dog run onto the road in front of her, and is forced to make a choice, whether she wants to win the race at the expense of the dog's life. At the last second, she swerves away to avoid hitting it, crashing off the course and smashing her car into a tree. She sits in the driver's seat, defeated and irritated, but luckily unharmed. Unfortunately, she doesn't get away scot-free. She's picked up by the police for reckless driving in the wake of the incident, and taken to jail, awaiting her mother, who rushes in frantically not long later, asking for her daughter. Her father, Art, follows her, exasperated at Jackie's behavior, not in the least surprised that she's landed herself behind bars. Leal, her mother, begs Art to help Jackie out and get her out of jail, but he refuses, because he believes that she'll never learn from her mistakes if they keep bailing her out of trouble. Jackie, unconcerned with the argument between her parents, is in her cell, live tweeting the situation. It seems that this is a common occurrence in their family, with her divorced parents often arguing over how best to handle her escapades. Jackie's father maintains that he can't let her go abroad to study at NYU as she wants to, because she's reckless and can't take care of herself. Leal persuades him that if he won't let Jackie go abroad alone, to let her accompany her on her medical mission to Tarlac instead. It will get her out of her self-destructive habits and give her a purpose, something she can do to keep herself occupied, under her mother's watchful eye. Art hesitates, not trusting Leal to discipline her properly, but at Jackie's admission that she'd rather stay in jail than go with her mother, he relents, thinking it might be good for her. At her father's large, grand house, Jackie is told her mother will be sending someone to pick her up and bring her to Tarlac, and quickly tries to drive away before they arrive. However, she's unsuccessful, and meets with her brother, who stares her down derisively as he cuts off her attempt to escape. She sits sullenly in the back of his car, looking at her phone, as he tries to make conversation with her. She's clearly not interested in anything he has to say. When he calls her out on it, she bites back, angry that her mother left her behind and took him with her when their parents split. She feels as though she isn't good enough, that Leal doesn't love her as much as him, because otherwise she would have taken them both. Her brother sighs, unable to make her feel any better, and Jackie puts in her headphones and ignores him for the rest of the ride. She begins a new live tweet thread entitled #FreeJackie. Taken by a sudden idea, she asks her brother to stop the car, pretending she's suddenly got her period and needs to get hygienic supplies. When they pull over, she escapes. She's in the market, trying to call someone for help, when she's spotted by a young guy, who catches sight of her as she walks by. She notices him looking at her, and for a moment, they lock eyes. She's curious as to why he's watching her, and for his part, he can't stop staring, entranced by her beauty. She's roughly snapped back to reality when a thief snatches her phone out of her hand and runs off, and both of them give chase. Jackie, as it turns out, can look after herself, and jumps on the thief, smacking him with her bag and forcing him into submission. The young guy arrives not long afterwards and punches him, and she takes her phone back in fury, demanding that the police take the man to jail. Her helper is impressed by her tenacity and compliments her, and seeing an opportunity, she takes his arm and drags him out of the main street. He gladly goes along, willing to do whatever she asks, and she puts up her hood so they're not noticed and asks for a ride to a bus station that can take her to Manila. On the way, he introduces himself as Kiko. Jackie, though, is per usual uninterested in making any conversation, glued to her phone. He says he drives tourists around for a living, but she continues ignoring him. He pulls up outside a hostel, and confused, Jackie asks him what they're doing there. He won't tell her, and she lets herself out of the car, screaming for help, believing he's going to assault her. However, as it turns out, Kiko is in fact one of her mother's friends, and has brought her to her destination, as Leal arrives to handle the situation. Jackie is shocked and angry that her escape plan failed so spectacularly. Her mother sighs at Jackie's obstinance as Kiko shows her the photo they were all told to watch out for. They'd all been onto her from the moment she left her father's house. Kiko, it turns out, is the son of the mayor, and has been dispatched to help her mother's medical mission. Leal thanks him for bringing her back, and tells Jackie that Kiko will be escorting her to the mountains the next day. Jackie is frustrated and annoyed at both Kiko and Leal, lashing out in her usual impossible way. Just then, her brother John arrives, berating her for leaving him. Jackie goes to her room, and Kiko brings her bags from the car for her. She takes the rope tassel off the window and locks the door as he drops off the last case, then makes her way over to him seductively. He's taken aback by her forwardness, stepping away, worried that her mother will disapprove, and protesting that it's too soon. He barely knows her, but she presses forward, pushing him onto the bed and climbing on top of him. He struggles as she ties his hands up, pretending she's about to get intimate with him, then puts a blindfold on him and, while distracting him, takes his car keys from his pocket. He's nervous, laughing, by now accepting of what's about to happen, and admits to her that it's his first time, tied and blindfolded, just as she's about to leave the room. She has to hold back a laugh at his naivete. It doesn't all go according to her plan, though. Kiko's little brother Tintoy is asleep in the back seat of his Jeep, and when she drives away, he assumes she's a kidnapper. She pulls over, opens the door, and insists he gets out, about to leave him on the side of the road and drive away when he begins to cry and wail for his brother. She feels bad about it and can't bring herself to leave him there, reluctantly getting out and comforting him. Kiko drives up on a bike, berating her for tricking him, and taking his brother into his arms. Jackie sighs, irritated that her plans keep being foiled, as Kiko snatches the car keys back, embarrassed about what he said to her, and insists on driving them all back to the hostel. He's being patient with her because he knows she had an unhappy childhood, in spite of the trouble she's already caused him. Now, however, he knows he has to be wary, as he's caught onto her tricks. At the local jail, their mother, Carmela, is playing cards in a cell when a policeman lets her out. Kiko and Tintoy are waiting in reception to greet her, and Kiko begs her to stop borrowing money because he doesn't have enough to bail her out next time. She waves him off, laughing, clearly very much like Jackie, and that she doesn't think about the problems she causes for other people, and Kiko is frustrated that he's having to teach his own mother how to behave. That night, Kiko and Jackie arrive for dinner at Kiko's father's house. He's hosting a party for everyone on the medical mission. It's large and beautiful, being the mayor's house, but Kiko explains he doesn't reside there. Only the mayor's children with his current wife do. Jackie is curious about his mother but doesn't ask further. He takes her over to Lil, who is with the medical team, and she's introduced to all the staff who she really doesn't care to meet. The mayor comes over, asking if Kiko is bothering them, and Lil assures him he's not. The mayor seems not to have much time for his son, throwing out instructions at him, which he accepts dutifully although he's already got so much on his plate, and then informing him he won't get the job he wants at the local municipal hall if he doesn't look after Jackie as well. Kiko isn't deterred, only wanting to prove himself to his father. Jackie feels a little sorry for him, seeing how poorly he's treated. After that, the mayor's wife comes over to admonish him for forgetting to help send his sister's things to New York. She's leaving to study there. Jackie finds Kiko later on, outside talking to his brother Marcus on the phone. It turns out Marcus is the guy from the race earlier on, who beat Jackie because she swerved off. He recognizes her over the video call and starts flirting with her, and even though she's not receptive to it, Kiko gets jealous and ends the call quickly. It seems as though he has a bit of an inferiority complex when it comes to Marcus. Kiko heads home with some of the food from the mayor's party to his mother's small and bare house. Tintoy is there with their younger siblings, but Carmela has already left, having gone out with her boyfriend earlier. Kiko sighs, but takes charge of his siblings, putting the baby to sleep and worrying that his mother is going to land herself in even more trouble that he won't be able to get her out of. At the same time, Lil goes to Jackie's room, hoping to speak with her. She offers her a deal, finish the medical mission, and do it properly, and in return, she'll fund her trip to the States and let her be free to have her own life there. Jackie enthusiastically accepts. The next morning, they're all getting ready and as usual, Jackie is ignoring everyone around her. In an effort to get her to notice him, Kiko takes a picture of her and tags her in it, but in return she just calls him a stalker and returns to her phone. Kiko cuffs her to his arm to make sure she can't run away. As they arrive in the mountains, despite herself, Jackie is enthralled by the view and stands up out of the roof to take pictures. Turns out she's actually an avid photographer, although she likes to pretend she doesn't care about anything. Kiko stands up as well, teasing her, and she smears his face with sunscreen and laughs at his dumbfounded expression. For once, she's actually having fun, now that she's in the real world. However, it comes to an end as the car abruptly breaks down. There's no signal in the mountains, and Jackie is disgusted at the fact that she'll be without internet for a whole week. While the others fix the car, Kiko goes off to pee, and poor Jackie is still attached to his arm. At her protests, he allows her out of the cuffs, but keeps a firm eye on her. Jackie doesn't want to wait for the car to be fixed, and insists she'll walk the rest of the way, so Kiko pulls her many cases out of the car and tells her she can carry them herself, since she's not getting any special treatment. Jackie complains, but Kiko won't give in, so she stroppily takes the cases, and he laughs, dubbing her Madam Baby because she's being such a baby about everything. Kiko walks with Kim, another new face on the mission, telling her about his family and his siblings. His mother has 4 children by 3 different fathers. Jackie struggles along behind them with her suitcases, and Kiko calls back to her teasingly. She's determined not to let him win, though, so she tries vainly to get up the mountain carrying everything, but slips and falls. Kiko finally takes pity on her and carries her up the hill, with Kim bringing the rest of her stuff. She doesn't thank either of them, or care to introduce herself to anyone on the mission. Soon enough, Jackie learns how difficult this week is going to be for her. She has 2 children assigned to her, Sheena and Jenny, who she will be looking after in a single room, with no electricity, only a fire to cook with, and 1 hole in the floor for a bathroom. Unable to sleep, she takes out her laptop and looks at the photos she took earlier on, and Kiko surprises her by coming up behind her and commenting on her photography. He tells her photos have no soul to them, that he doesn't feel anything when he looks at them, although the technique is perfect. Jackie is annoyed by his comments because she knows they're true. Jackie isn't taking the mission seriously and is constantly subject to Kiko's teasing. He throws a fruit at her, telling her to take care of his heart, but she throws it back at him meanly. She discovers that Kiko is afraid of spiders and decides to play a joke on him by putting a spider in his pants when he goes to the bathroom. She takes pictures of him as he flails around, terrified, and throws his pants away, but they land on the fire and get damaged badly. He's sad, upset that Jackie would play such a mean trick on him, and that his pants are ruined. Later on, Jackie feels guilty about the whole incident, as one of the others tells her they were his special pants that his brother bought for him. She keeps taking pictures though, resolved not to apologize. Later on, they're sitting around a fire discussing marriage traditions. Jackie thinks it's ridiculous that poor families who have nothing to give will still insist on dowries, even when they have nothing. But Kiko, still angry with her, interjects and says it's for love. She is quieted by the hurt look in his eyes and looks down, ashamed. The next day her mother arrives with the rest of the medical team, and Kiko admits to Leal that he doesn't think he can handle Jackie for much longer. Jackie overhears, feeling terrible, but still can't bring herself to tell him she's sorry. Jackie is taking photos of the doctors treating everyone when she sees her mother coddling a baby that has a cough. She's hurt by it, wondering why she wasn't good enough for her mother to care about, and looks away, unable to photograph the moment. Jenny gets hurt, and Leal immediately tends to her, and Jackie cries behind her camera, watching her mother give the love to strangers that she couldn't give to her. They all joke, including Kiko, that she doesn't have a heart, but she's beginning to realize that it's just been locked away. Jackie runs away, unable to bear it, and Leal and Kiko follow her. She confronts her mother, tearfully demanding her to explain why she left her, why she didn't love her enough to take care of her. Leal explains that the night she left, she grabbed John, but didn't have a chance to take Jackie, and even though she promised herself she'd go back for her daughter, she couldn't, because her dad wouldn't let her. Jackie cries that everyone in the world has a mother except for her, and although she knows she's self-destructing, she doesn't care, because all she wants is for the pain of not being wanted to go away. Leal promises she will never stop loving her, and asks for her forgiveness, but Jackie says nobody ever taught her how to forgive, and runs away in tears. Kiko hugs Leal, then follows Jackie. He confronts her angrily, reminding her she's not the only one in the world with problems, and her mother has apologized. She can't do any more. Jackie is furious because he has no right to judge her or her feelings, but their argument is cut short when Kiko receives a call on the satellite phone from a crying Tintoy, saying their sister Nina's bleeding, but he doesn't say anything else. Terrified, Kiko asks if they can call the neighbors, but Tintoy is beside himself, and Jackie jumps into action, telling him to get in the Jeep and start the engine. They rush to Kiko's mother's home as quickly as possible. When they get there, Nina's locked in her room and won't come out. Jackie knocks on the door, asking her to let her in, shooing all the boys away. It turns out Nina's fine, she just got her first period, and Kiko is relieved and thankful that Jackie intervened. They take Tintoy to get food, to calm him down, and then later on, while they're cleaning up, Jackie tentatively asks Kiko how he handles it. She can finally see that he, too, has an absent mother and a difficult life, but he doesn't react the way she does, and she doesn't understand how he can look past it, act like everything's fine, like life isn't unfair. He shrugs and tells her that everyone who suffers asks why, but in the end, there will never be a good enough reason, so asking the question just makes one go crazy. He chides her for her anger, saying it's a waste of time, because her mother has already done all she can to fix her mistakes, and nothing is going to change. He doesn't have time to waste being angry at his own mother, because he has siblings to take care of. After seeing Kiko's situation firsthand, Jackie begins to realize that she's been acting terribly, and that she loves her mother enough to want to try and mend things between them, if she can. At the bus station, Jackie looks over her photos with a new eye, pleased at the amount of emotion she's managed to convey. She stops at one of Kiko smiling, admiring it, and follows his Instagram account as he asked her to do when they first met. She decides that she isn't ready to give up on the mission yet. She takes the bus and walks up the mountain, having seen Kiko in a whole new light, deciding she wants to try and do better in her life. They're shocked and happy when she arrives, Sheena and Jenny happily calling out for Madam Baby, and she greets Kiko with a smile, for the first time ever, but tells him she's only back because she needs to fulfill her mother's deal for the funding for New York. He thanks her for the follow with a wink. Leo watches nervously, but Kiko assures her afterward that Jackie is fine. The following day, for the first time ever, Jackie wears the same shirt as the rest of the volunteers. She takes family pictures for the people at the refuge, giving them out to everyone, because she wants them to have memories of their family together, to remind them of how lucky they are. One of the volunteers brings her over to the cooking table, where they're making the fruit that Kiko tossed her before. Her mother teaches her how to prepare it, at Jackie's request. She and Kiko eat it together, and he watches her, realizing that now she's not acting like a spoiled brat anymore, she's even more beautiful to him. Over the next few days, Jackie begins to realize how wonderful life can be at the mission when she throws her all into it. Everyone is friendly and kind. Kiko even brings her hot water. She cuddles with Jenny and Sheena at night, and she takes photos of everyone that they can treasure forever. She laughs and plays with Kiko, growing closer with him, and slowly mending fences with her mother as well, happy for the first time in a long time as she discovers that once she lets go of her anger, the world can be an amazing place. Jackie and Kiko dance together by the fire and take pictures of themselves with the children, and before long, she knows she's beginning to really fall in love with him. One time, when he's trying to take the car keys from her, they're dangerously close to kissing when she tells him that it's her first time too, and he cringes, embarrassed to be reminded that she heard him admitting it, and the moment is broken. Kiko, Leo and Jackie have just had their own family photo taken when Marcus arrives, having cut his trip short to bring some of the donated goods their father has prepared for the mission. Although Kiko is really happy to see his brother, whom he admires, it's clear that he's feeling uncomfortable as Marcus makes moves on Jackie, promising her that his mother could get her a scholarship in New York if she takes a family photo for the mayor. He wants her to go there, because he'll be studying abroad there too. Kiko feels increasingly left out of the picture, as Jackie politely goes along with what Marcus says, glad to be given such opportunities. During the photo-taking session, Marcus and Kiko have a discussion where it becomes evident that Kiko's inferiority issues are founded in a previous situation where they both loved the same girl. Marcus forces him to give her up, and he nudges Kiko, saying that he knows they both like Jackie, and making it clear that he intends to have her for himself. Kiko is angry and sad, torn between not wanting to disappoint his brother and upset the family, but knowing he's truly in love with Jackie, and he can't just walk away. At the party to celebrate the end of the mission, they are playing games, and Kiko keeps being outdone by Marcus in every round. When Kiko wins a game that involves keeping Jackie and Marcus apart, his father and his wife notice and watch disapprovingly. They don't want Kiko taking Jackie away from their preferred son. The mayor's wife takes Kiko into the kitchen and explains to him in no uncertain terms that Marcus is the only reason they tolerate him, because his brother loves him so much, they couldn't keep them apart. Kiko sadly realizes that he has no chance with Jackie, because Marcus has done so much for him, to make it possible to have the life he wants, that he can't get in his way. The next day there is a wedding between two of the volunteers, the one they spoke about that night at the fire, and Jackie asks Kiko to pick her up, but to her surprise, he sends Marcus instead. She's polite about it, but is looking for Kiko all day, on the way and during the ceremony. He doesn't attend, though, even though she knew he was excited about it, and she's worried about him. When Marcus drops her off, he takes her hands and makes it very clear he likes her, but Jackie rejects him, because she feels too strongly for Kiko to deny it. Defeated, Marcus sighs, knowing that he's lost to his brother before he even had a chance. Jackie takes a cab and finds Kiko at his mother's house, polishing the mayor's car. Despite his attempts to deflect her, she forces the issue, confronting him about what Marcus told her. Devastated that she found out, he swears he would marry her in an instant if he could, but because of his brother, he doesn't dare to act on his feelings. Jackie is disappointed, because he was the one who taught her how to love others, and now because of his caring nature and his responsibility to his family, he won't allow himself a chance to be happy. She leaves, brokenhearted, promising him she can endure the pain of losing him only because she's doing it for the one she loves, too. Kiko is left alone and sad. That night, late, Kiko is called to the mayor's house, because he's the only one Marcus will listen to. His brother is drunk, angry, and starts a fistfight, claiming that it's not fair that he's lost out to Kiko, that he could never be as good as him, that Jackie can't love him instead. The mayor and his wife arrive, incensed, and demand Kiko leaves, but for once Kiko stands up for himself, saying that he never asked Marcus for anything, and even now tried to give him what he wanted. He begs his father to fight for him for once, and then leaves in disgust with nothing more to say to either of them. Back at home in the morning, Carmela comes in, asking Kiko for breakfast, telling him he needs to pay the bills, and chattering away about her life. Kiko quietly sobs in the corner until Carmela finally notices he's upset, and hugs him, apologizing for being such a terrible mother. She knows her own nature and that she can't help but be irresponsible, but she does love him. Meanwhile, on the last night of the mission, Jackie is packing up all her things and the photos she took, and Leo comes to find her, asking her if she's ready to leave it all behind. Jackie apologizes for her behavior over all the years, explaining that she's now realized she wasn't the only one suffering. She understands now how hard the choice was that Leo had to make. Her mother holds her, promising she'll be there for her from now on. Jackie bids a tearful farewell to everyone as the volunteers leave the mission, until it's back on again the following year. She waves to Jenny and Sheena as they thank her for their photos, hoping that she'll see them again one day. The mayor calls Kiko to his house and apologizes for the way he's treated him over the years. He realizes that he's been too harsh. He asks if Kiko can forgive him, and calls him father again. Kiko embraces him, happy to give him another chance, glad that he's finally going to get the opportunity to have a real relationship with his father that isn't based on his brother's kindness. As he's about to leave, he encounters Marcus in the hallway, who doesn't speak to him. He hands him a photo from Jackie. It was of the two brothers on the day of the family shoot, and it was taken in secret. She tells him she wanted him to have it. Jackie exhibits her photos back home in Manila, and her brother John expresses how proud he is of what she's done. She's happy that she's learned how to be someone that her family can be proud of, but her heart still hurts knowing that Kiko is so far away. She decides she isn't going to New York. Instead, she wants to stay in Manila with her mother and try to help people. Meanwhile, Kiko sits with Jenny and Sheena, also lamenting the distance between them, when Marcus approaches, having forgiven all that's happened between them, and brings him some smart clothes and flowers, so he can surprise Jackie at the after-party for the volunteers. He and the two little girls bundle into the car, heading for the big city. However, his big surprise is ruined when they can't find their way to the convention center, and he's forced to call her, getting out of the car in the terrible traffic and trying to find where she is. She gets out as well, but in the confusion, they can't find each other. Kiko is taken by surprise as someone tries to steal his phone, but he tackles the man down, and Jackie finally spots him. She runs up to him, and he promises her that he's never going to let her go again. He knows that he loves her, and he needs to know if she will agree to be his forever. She is overwhelmed with joy to finally hear that he wants to be with her, and tells him yes. He kisses her in front of everyone, just as Marcus arrives with the two girls, and the lovers embrace on the street, reunited at last.